Hi everyone, it's me, Krylios, here with Les Henderson from Les's Lighthouse. I am so happy to be here. I am so happy to have Les here with me. And as you guys know, I am the MC and producer for Team Rayceen Productions. This is YouTube Live with Team Rayceen, and Les is here. How are you, Les?
I'm good. Thank you so much for you having me on. You and the team, y'all do great work. Great
Thank
work.
you. Thank you so much. And you do great work too. Tell our audience about, Les's Lighthouse and, how that came about and what it does.
Wow. Well, originally it came about in 20, I'll go back to 2016. I had a lung collapse in 2016. And
Mm,
so I was hospitalized for a few weeks and, everything was just so dark to me during that time. I had went into a depression and all of that.
mm.
I'll spare you all the details for that. And
No, yeah.
what began to help me was I realized I was given another chance on this earth to live right and just
Yes.
be more present within my own life. And people will always say, you're such an inspiration, you're continue to be a beacon in your life, you're a beacon in my life, you shed light. So, and I consider myself pretty funny and goofy as
Yes.
well. So what I did was, if y'all can tell sometimes on the socials, so what I did was I added like coaching with a comedic twist. I recently received my life and health coaching certifications. And thank you. And what I wanted to do with that was, hey, let me show coaching, give inspiration, but with a comedic twist. And so
Mm.
I said, why not do it? Les's Lighthouse and share it that way. So I have videos on, online, about it. I believe there'll be links somewhere, that y'all will be able to
Yes.
see soon. Um, and then I just kind of went from there. And one thing I will say during this quarantine, as you know, we've all had to make
Oh,
adjustments. I
honey,
mean,
adjustments, adaptations, just
yes,
compromise. We really got, learning to live differently by
yeah.
just adapting. Yeah.
And so, I mean, like I'm used to coming to HRC to see all of you. So it's like, okay, wow, we're doing this from Zoom. It's still cool.
Yes.
But what I found, and because of what happened in 2016, I'm immunocompromised. So
Mm-hmm.
I've really only been going out just for essentials. But I found that for me, it's actually been a time of communication, as funny as
Yes.
that sounds, because usually, I'm caught up in work in my day job and doing
Mm-hmm.
so much. I can't always make all of the events or connect with people in person the way I want to. But
Mm-hmm.
what I found through Zoom and through other channels of communication, I've been able to connect with people, if not more. So one thing I began to, just began to remember people telling me ever since college was continue to share your story. Your story has
Yes.
power, your story has inspiration. And we're seeing now, if we don't share our stories, if we don't put ourselves out there, nothing gets done.
Oh, honey, 100%. Listen,
Right.
like I say this to people that, stories, it captures the essence of human history. It captures the human journey, the human spirit. That's what stories are, The
Sure.
reason why we have what we have today is because of stories being passed down. It's the stories that are passed down that creates the current culture, the current society. And those
Right.
specific stories, the stories that you hear, the stories that inspire you, it shapes your worldview as you grow. So stories are very important.
For sure.
So one must always use their story to inspire others. You know what I mean? And I'm glad that you are doing this. I'm so happy that you're doing this. Tell me about the inspiration behind the name Les's Lighthouse.
Well, it was times that I had to just be a light in my own life.
Mm-hmm.
My life, I grew up with just a lot of family conflicts, not even due to my sexuality, just
Mm-hmm.
conflicts that go back decades, even before I even existed, before I was even
Mm.
thought of. And
Yeah.
so, just dealing with that, and then just dealing with some of the intersections out here, not only being black, not only being
Mm-hmm.
female, but being a masculine presenting lesbian,
Yeah.
being so just all these intersections growing up working class, just having all of these elements, having to feel like sometimes you're pulling stuff together by yourself. Later on, I
Yes.
would learn more about community and tapping into community, but back then I was in a dark place and I didn't
Yeah.
pay. So I began to just say, you know what, I have to tap into myself. Lessons I would read, meditation groups I've joined, they said you need to tap into yourself. So that's what inspired Lighthouse, for me to continue
Ah.
to be a light in my own life as well as shed light on others. And then through that, and through the what was kind of birthed from that, I guess the baby of Lighthouse is the Be
Uh-huh.
a Beacon podcast,
Okay, no,
where
let's get into that. Let's get into that. Tell us about this podcast, this new burgeoning fledgling project that
yeah.
you're working on.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It just, like you just said, stories are everything. They're captivating. You can pass them on. They're here for a
Mm-hmm.
lifetime. So it's so many stories within our queer community that aren't being told, because unfortunately, despite what we're dealing with, with the racism and
Mm-hmm.
everything we're out fighting for right now, we still have a lot of just intra issues within the queer community, whether it's like
Definitely.
racism in the queer community, classism, superficial biases, a lot of
Misogyny, sexism.
misogynies, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, or like the gays don't like the bis, the lesbians
Yes,
don't. So you
yes.
got so many
Even transphobia within the community.
yes.
Yes. So,
Yeah, so it's so many like inner letter dramas that,
mm-hmm.
a lot of people's stories just aren't being heard. So it's just my goal with the Be a Beacon podcast is for a variety of LGBTQIA plus voices just continue to be heard, and for them to be able
Yes.
to tell their stories in depth, authentic stories in their own words. And,
Oh.
and it's not about who's the most popular or who's,
Mm-hmm.
who has the most accolades, but it's just power in their stories.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the podcast right now is on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and others.
Love.
So I'm
And
out.
listen, I can't wait till some of us from Team Racing can jump over there and we can do
Yes,
it together. We can do it. That would
yes,
be great. That would be great. We're very open to that. I would love it. I would love it.
I'm totally
Sharing,
down for that.
of
Y'all are
course.
great.
Thank you. Thank you. Definitely. Oh, for our audience, go ahead and share where, because you just shared where they can find the podcast. So share everything else. Share your social media. Share where they can find
Um,
everything. Cash App if you can, everything. Go ahead.
sure. Now I think there's going to be a little logo or something. Yeah, there it is, right there. Instead of me saying it, like, wait, let me try to write this down. So, so that will be up. You guys, you can find me at Less Equal More. What you're seeing with Endo Queer, that's another child that was kind of sprouted through that.
Tell us a
When
little bit about endoqueer.
Sure. Now, going back to 2016, earlier in this episode where I mentioned having a lung collapse, I found
Mm-hmm.
out my lung collapse was due to endometriosis. It was a shock. I will definitely
Ah,
spare y'all the details. I know this isn't this is short, but I definitely, wanted to touch on it. And so when that happened to me, I was like, excuse my language, but shit, I cannot believe my
yeah.
lung just collapsed behind, something like this. I didn't even know that could happen.
Mm,
So then I began to educate myself on endometriosis and everything, and continue to share my story, because there were biases that I went through, not only as Black, but also queer and everything
mm,
else. So, and being, masculine presenting to the
presenting.
world with a, what's deemed as more of a feminine illness,
Mm-hmm.
well, if illness that you relate more to femininity.
Yes,
So I
yes.
definitely wanted to highlight, hey, masculine of center women have endometriosis,
Mm-hmm.
trans males are dealing with endometriosis. You
Mm-hmm.
have various individuals amongst the spectrum that are dealing with this. And I just wanted to share the space that, hey, you're not alone. You're definitely not alone with this. There are other people out here that, have this. I don't want people to feel as alone as I felt, dealing with this. So a few weeks back, I was on a Black with Endometriosis webinar panel, and so many, people within our community was, like, thank you for doing this. So it just kept going from there. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to do it myself. It's no point in waiting around like, oh, has anyone did this yet? Gosh, when is
Yes.
somebody going to do it? So I'm just taking initiative to, do it on my own, with this. And so also you guys can feel free, anyone dealing with this or want to help, just feel free to message me or whatnot.
Oh wow. Listen, you are doing so much out there. You are an inspiration to people out there. You're an inspiration to me. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for the work you're doing. Thank you for the stories you are sharing, because it is so, so, so important. Or
Yeah,
queer stories matter, or Black queer
sure.
stories matter. And thank you so much for everything. But
You're
most of all,
welcome.
Thank you for joining me today. It was a
Of course.
pleasure.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Anytime,
Of
anytime.
course, of course. Thank you so much. And to our viewers out there, thank you for
Yes.
watching. Bye, everyone. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.